Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. I have a cast iron wok, and I love its structural beauty, and I always want to make use of my cast iron wok. However, cast iron wok is not the most practical wok to use because it is very heavy. However, cast iron wok excels in its heat transduction as well as its heat holding capacity. It makes it perfect for it to cook a type of dish, which is frequently known as clay pot rice in the Chinese version, or known as biryani, which is in a Indian Pakistani version. A clay pot rice is a Chinese/Cantonese version in which the rice is cooked with different food ingredients that will season the rice. A biryani rice is also a mixed rice dish that originated from a Muslim of the Indian subcontinent. It is believed a variation of the pilaf that from many Middle Eastern countries. Over the years, I enjoy both clay pot rice and biryani. So I create a template which is a fusion between these two. And I call this simply a cast iron wok rice. But of course, you can cook this in other type of wok as well, such as a stainless steel wok. One characteristic of the clay pot rice is the rice at the bottom of the pot will become char and give it a crispy texture. And the cast iron wok works best for this purpose. This cast iron wok rice, from my standpoint, is one of those catch-all dishes. It's very similar to a fried rice, and you can use up all the leftover ingredients that you have in your advanced prepping because they will all go in very well. This dish is particularly great for different kinds of vegetables. It is one of those one-pot meal rich in flavor because you can use many different kinds of vegetables and you can pick the protein that you want to create a meal that is full of flavor and different textures. So in this cast iron wok rice dish, I actually use 6 different kinds of vegetables and I cook it with bacon as my protein of choice. In addition, I also add eggs as well. This dish is rich in flavor as well as has fantastic nutritional value of all the different kinds of vegetables that are present. Okay, let's go into the kitchen. I'm going to show you how to cook this dish. The protein that I choose to cook this dish is some bacon. This bacon actually comes from my neighbor and he raised pig, so it was very nice for him to give me this bacon, which is basically homegrown. Now the bacon is relatively thick and I cut them up into small pieces. So my approach in cooking this dish is that I'm going to fry the bacon until they are crisp. I will then take the bacon and set them aside, and then I'm going to add the bacon back when I'm going to reassemble the dish. This strategy will provide the dish a different contrast in flavor because the bacon will be crisp, and as the vegetable in the dish after I cook them, they will be relatively soft. So the bacon will provide a nice contrast of its crispiness versus the softness of the different vegetable that I'm going to add to this dish. Another reason I want to cook the bacon this way because I'm going to use the fat from the bacon to cook the rice. This will give the rice great flavor. I adopted this technique from the clay pot rice, which used a Chinese bacon. But in this case, the bacon add directly to the rice and cook with the rice. And the one thing I do not like about this approach is that the bacon would tend to be rather soft and the flavor actually has been extracted from the rice. I prefer this approach better because now I fry the bacon to the crispy texture. I'm going to set them aside and reincorporate it with the rice later on when the rice is done. Now I have the bacon oil left in the wok. I'm going to add rice directly to the bacon fat, and this will provide a very nice flavor for the rice. I'm going to use a type of rice that is known as basmati rice. It is a super long grain rice. I use about 1.5 cups of rice, and I add the rice directly to the bacon fat after I wash the rice. In the clay pot rice, most of the time, a traditional long grain rice is used. But in the biryani, basmati rice is the rice of choice. And I have tried both kinds of rice, and I like the basmati rice much better than the regular long grain rice. And then I add 2 cups of water to the wok. Now, the amount of water that you add would depend on the type of rice that you use. I try to avoid adding too much water because I can always add more water later on as I watch the cooking process. Okay, next I'm going to add the vegetables to the wok. I went through my refrigerator of my advanced prepping, and I decided I will select those vegetables that are relatively fibrous so that when I cook them, they will not disintegrate into the rice. So the first vegetable that I'm going to add is some Napa cabbage. I find that any type of cabbage go really well with this dish. For example, regular cabbage or red cabbage, both will go well. If you like Brussels sprouts, it is also a good choice. I decided I'm going to add a small amount of jalapeno pepper to give the dish a slight spicy flavor. And next, when I look around in the refrigerator, I found some cauliflower. And cauliflower is also a good addition to this dish. As I have mentioned, this is truly a catch-all dish. You can use almost any kind of vegetable that you would like. Next, I found some eggplant in my advanced prepping. I decided that will also a good addition to this dish. Furthermore, I really need to use up this eggplant. Next, I found some white mushroom in my advanced prepping. This also seems to me a very good vegetable to be included in this dish. Next, I find some cherry tomatoes in my advanced prepping. I think the cherry tomato will add both color and flavor to this dish. Up to this point, I have 6 different kinds of vegetables. I start out with some Napa cabbage, and then I add jalapeno pepper. This is followed by cauliflower, and then eggplant, and then it is followed by some white mushroom, and finally I top it with some tomatoes. And next, I season the dish with some of my basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix is strong in umami flavor, and it will help to enhance the natural flavor of the vegetable ingredients. With many different vegetables that are present in this dish, it provides a very complex profile of the different flavor, and you do not want to overwhelm them with too strong seasonings. Okay, now I'm going to let this cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to check along the way. 15 minutes later, as you can see here, the rice is already cooked. So I incorporate the bacons back into the dish. And then I'm going to crack 2 eggs directly over the surface of the rice. I'm going to poach the egg. This only takes about a few minutes. The egg provides an additional source of protein. It also makes the dish more interesting. So as you can see, this dish truly is a all-around dish with vegetables and 2 different types of proteins. I put the cover back on, and I'm going to poach the egg for about 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I open up the cover. The egg is done. So the next step is that I'm going to garnish the dish with some scallions or green onion. I add the green onion way at the end because I want the green onion to provide a fresh flavor to the dish. I always have some green onions in my advanced prepping for this purpose. And finally, I'm going to touch up the dish with a little bit of soy sauce, particularly over the eggs. Okay, now the dish is done. The total cook time is a little bit over 30 minutes. This dish takes longer time to cook in comparison to the normal stir frying. However, it provides variations. We normally cook this dish about maybe once a month. It is a good dish to have it in your repertoire. Again, it is a template that you can modify it in many different ways. And the type of variation that you can come up with is only limited by your personal taste preference as well as your imagination. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine using my fast cooking system that make cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun. If you'd like to learn more about my cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking.